Welcome to Monarchist Minute. I'm your host, William Stout, and today we have quite the panel. We have Toby Cosner from United Monarchist Party of America. We have Prussian Mad Lad from the Radical Monarchists, and we have our own Vice Chancellor Clemens Magnolia. And Constantine has come up from the audience, and we are talking about a wonderful topic of conversation tonight. The one and only Trump's big, beautiful breakup with Elon Musk. The absolute crash out of the century that's currently racking the Republican Party. Now, Toby, you were the one that introduced the topic. You want to get us started off, or?
Well, let me just start by saying the Trump Elon thing. Well, I don't think it was my idea, but I do think I have insights on it. I was watching some political kid for research purposes on the topic because he just posted about it. I think he brings up some good points. This is going to be splitting the Republicans. I think everyone knows this much already, but it's going to be splitting the Republicans, and it's going to be giving the Democrats more power. Now, in respect to us, the monarchist movement, I think we could possibly get some benefit from it, maybe pointing out how easily Republican coalitions and partnerships are fractured by personal greed and interests.
I've been hard at work on Twitter pointing that out.
As you should be.
Hmm.
But that's my opening thoughts to it, anyways.
Clements, I know you and I had some interesting conversation about it
I
last night.
I would rather everyone else get theirs out so then I can give y'all the actual truth. Yeah.
Oh. All right, who else has conversations? Because Clements apparently wants to mop the floor with all of us.
All I'm gonna say is the memes on Twitter have been great. Top
Yeah.
notch. Ship.
They have been.
Uh,
Prussian, you got anything to say, or?
yeah, I honestly, I regrettably did not have. I regrettably did not take as much time looking deep into the fallout between Trump and Musk because, mostly because I was in the middle of doing my own research, which is and which still frustrates me at this point. But so I have nothing to add in about this particular topic.
Well, I'll go into the truth of the matter. The fact of the matter is this means absolutely nothing. I am as of right now sitting in a hotel room as I'm at the North Carolina GOP convention, and of everyone I've asked here, no one gives a shit about what Elon has to say. The only people that do are the fringe members of the party, and there's so few of them, they have no real political power, and they don't even want to try and wield it. They're all a bunch of idiots, anyways. The fact of the matter is, Elon Musk is a man-child. He's mad at Trump because he isn't getting what he wants. He'll inevitably get over it, as everyone in this day and age does with almost everything. This really isn't a big thing. He's just mad. He's whining about it on Twitter. This means absolutely nothing. The party will not collapse because Elon and Trump are mad. Elon's sway is much more tepid than what he purports it to be. And again, all of this is just on Twitter. Please remember that it's Twitter. The 90% of it is all just hot air.
That is a very good point. How is the national convention going, by the way?
Not national state convention.
State convention, my apologies.
Yeah,
How is
well, it's fine. We had a hiccup in trying to although I've been told that the acceptance of the rules was quicker than expected, but we still had a hiccup where someone was trying to change the rules or the platform to add in something about something pro-life or whatnot. I honestly wasn't even sure what it was, and when we were trying to go through the rules to put it forward for an amending, turns out that You see, the thing is, the chair didn't actually know that we didn't have to do that, and he just kept going along with it. And my county chair, he stood up and she told him, "Hey, we don't need to do this." And when you saw him, his face was like, "Oh crap, she's right, we don't." But he was in so deep that he did not want to admit he was wrong. Rather funny, honestly. After that, it was pretty good. Then just talking with people, and afterwards we had dinner. The dinner was honestly the main course. The meat was bland. I'll be honest. The rose dinner that we had for the March for Life was so good compared to this.
That was a really good meal.
Yeah, it was. There were some speakers. The Secretary of Education was there, Linda McMahon. She was pretty good. Representative Virginia Fox, she spoke. She was okay. Representative Pat Harrington. Wow, he is a great speaker. And after he was done speaking, I leaned over to the one of the women I was sitting with, and I told her he is going to run for Senate. Not this coming election, but one in the future. He's 100% gonna run for Senate. You can take it to the bank. I am certain of this. And honestly, I was listening to him, and I was like, I feel like he would be the most likely one we could get to become a monarchist. Sadly, I wasn't able to talk with him. Hopefully, I'll be able to at some point. But yeah, and then finally, first. Finally, the last speaker was your speaker. Well, your senator. Will, your senior senator, Bernie Moreno. And honestly, I thought he was pretty good. Honestly, it was a pretty darn good speech. Although at one point he decided to mention the Wright brothers, and it was rather funny. Everyone booed him, like, "Oh, boo, boo!" And I yelled out, "First flight!" Oh, it was great.
You North Carolinians.
Yeah, we're the
something air flight.
first in flight.
Hey,
Yeah, we're the
I
first
don't
in
want to
flight.
hear it. I don't want to hear it from the Michigan guy. Nobody asked you.
We have we have the automobile, which is a one up on both of you.
Yeah, well, your guy was a Nazi sympathizer, so.
Yeah. Okay. He did make the he made the cars run on time.
Oh my god.
I
You know what?
was gonna say something else, and I completely my mind blanked. I'm not even gonna lie.
In a way, my state kind of has the atom bomb.
Oh, let me guess. New Mexico.
No, Missouri, Truman.
Oh, fair.
Very nice. All right, but back to the topic of the Trump. Oh, you had a question you were going to ask me about Pat Harrington, right? Will?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was saying, what was your question though? Because I was saying how I think Pat Harrington is probably the best chance we have of getting someone in Congress to be at least sympathetic to monarchy.
Really? What makes you think of that? Or
I don't know. His speech, I just got a feeling off of him. Yeah, I can't really explain it, but it's just one of those things where you listen and you're like, I got a feeling, do 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 do.
well,
Yeah, I just got a feeling. That's all I can really say.
I may interject. I will note that a sitting, I can't remember if he is a state representative or a national Congress representative, but we had a representative actually like multiple of UMPA's Twitter posts. So, food for thought.
I think one of the potential pretenders to Hawaii ran for Senate.
No, not one of the heir apparent to the Hawaiian dynasty. Don't fall for any of those falsifiers. They're all like the thing is that legitimately the line was given to the crown of Kalakaua, and their current heir is Quentin. Is it Kawanakoa or I think it's Kawanakoa. Yeah, Quentin Kawanakoa, who actually served as a Republican state House member in Hawaii.
So yeah, that's potentially one. I know I was invited to join my friends at our state convention, but unfortunately that week I'm going on a trip with my family, or I might be going on a trip with my family, so I probably won't be able to attend.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's, family life's more important.
Yeah.
So, did you go with anyone, or?
No, I just went out there. I mean, I'm technically a guest. Oh, the House of Kawanakoa. It's the House of Kawanaakoa. Kawanaakoa. Yeah, the House of Kawanaakoa. That's the current that's the dynasty that would rule Hawaii today.
Love Polynesian pronunciations because while they're pretty easy,
There's so many vowels.
there's so many, and like all the weird punctuation, so you don't know how to break up the syllables.
You really don't. I lived in Hawaii for a few years. None of it. Well, it makes sense. It's just really hard to figure it out. There's just so many vowels, though.
Yeah, like I can deal with the vowels. I usually struggle more with consonants. Like that's my biggest struggle with me learning German. Is like all the huge consonant-packed syllables, and my voice starts sounding like gears grinding because I get tongue-tied.
German's not that bad when it comes to consonants. You want to see some crazy stuff? See like Polish or Czech, dude. So many Z's, bro.
I don't even.
True.
Yeah, I did try learning Russian once, but then I was decided it was too much to try and learn a new alphabet on top of a new language.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real. I tried that too.
Not worth it.
I end at Mandarin once. I got a little
Oh.
bit, and I graduated.
I don't think I could ever do Mandarin. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't think I could do Mandarin. I don't think I could do it.
The thing I tried to learn Mandarin when I was really, really young, and the thing that absolutely fried my brain was the fact that it's a tonal language, and you can pronounce a word or a syllable, but how you pronounce it changes the entire meaning of the word, not just the context of the word, the entire meaning. And it's
我不爱中国文学。
what does that mean?
Actually, no, I misspoke that one. Actually, I should have said 你爱不爱中国 Damn it, I messed it up again. Anyways,
Yeah,
what I was
it's
trying to
just
say was you like or don't like um, Chinese language more than meant to say you don't like it. But I flubbed it up really bad. I'm rusty.
Yeah, and the other thing that always bugs me about Chinese is how they use the Latin alphabet. Like, I'm okay with them using the Latin alphabet to, like, help with writing their words out in a form that's more palpable to foreign speakers. But if you're gonna do that, you gotta use the letters for the sounds that they actually mean in the rest of the Latin languages.
This is
Like,
this is why I love Romanji, because Romanji it's quite literally just how it looks. That's how you say it. Which is why the Japanese using the Roman alphabet, it just works. It just works.
God
it
bless
also
Japan.
it also works because Japanese is an atonal language and it has really easy to pronounce sounds and
Yeah, no, it's not like you can mispronounce a word and accidentally curse somebody to 1,000 years of like chickenpox or
exactly.
something.
It I feel like it really relates to the differences in the Japanese and Chinese cultures, where China we usually see it as very elegant, very poetic, very I don't want to use the word pretentious because I don't want to potentially insult anyone that's Chinese, but you know what I'm saying, very like noble and indirect in a sort of very classy way. And
Yeah.
then there's just the Japanese, which are stereotypically very serious and blunt.
Can I make light of another fine language?
What?
Ever heard of Esperanto?
I have, and I have many
Uh,
feelings about it. Very, very strong.
Go
feelings.
go away, please. It's just stupid language.
national language of neutral Morris net guys.
Hey, I didn't say the whole idea of breaking down the nations was good. I was just thinking the simplicity of it was good.
I just don't.
It's like
I don't.
newspeak, but infinitely worse.
I just don't know how I feel about the idea of just making up a language for the sake of making up a universal language. I just don't. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's an interesting concept, and I like it from like an intellectual perspective, where I think it's impressive that he did it. I just don't like the idea of it in
Besides,
practice.
we already have a universal language. It's called English.
Real.
One thing we can thank our British forefathers for. That reminds me
I
a
love
while
British.
That reminds me, a while back I saw a post on Twitter, I think it was on Twitter, it might have been Reddit, of some dude complaining about how he's slowly forgetting his native language because when he goes online, he talks in English, he writes in English, he does all of his major communication in English. And I just think that's the funniest thing ever. But now I find myself asking the question, wait, what is this guy's native language?
Yeah, no, it's probably like something obscure.
You know, I think in India, English is still the predominant second language of the entire country because rather than everyone either learn Hindi or one of the small languages in India, it's just easier for everyone to learn English because all the Indian upper class spoke English from British rule.
Well, yeah, India's lingua franca is English, which total British W.
Yeah, I just think that's hilarious. Mm. Um,
On the topic of English and all this, how long until American English totally diverges into being its own language? Think about it. It's going to happen at some point.
well, I
That's
think this would
that's gonna
actually.
be in yeah, that's gonna be in a very, very long time if you ask me.
Honestly, if nothing happens that would isolate American English from British English, I don't think that will happen. What will happen is American English will overtake British English as the global standard.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, sure, but think about it. Can you understand your average Joe from the UK? Oi, bruv.
yeah,
I'm scummy
yeah.
kid.
I
Yeah,
can.
I can.
Yeah,
Like, have you ever actually talked to an English person? Like, I have one who goes to not my church, but another church in my deanery. I can completely understand him. Yeah, he has an accent, but I can still completely understand him. I have multiple friends on Discord who speak in very thick, different kinds of English accents, and I can still understand all of them. Now, if we're talking about a thick Australian accent, I
I
don't
can
know
still
about that one,
understand an
dude.
Australian accent. It's Scottish. It's the Scottish
Here's the
I
thing.
don't know
accent.
about that.
English.
It's always the
Sometimes I
mountain
can't even
people.
tell what they're
It's
saying.
always the mountain peoples that speak weird. In English, they got Scots. Spanish, it's Chileans.
Yeah.
Germans, Bavarians, Austrians, what have you.
Here,
So
Russians,
wait,
just the entire language of Russia.
but here's the thing, though.
so
I wasn't
now
talking
we
about.
have to ask the question.
I was talking
Oh,
about dialects. You know, like different slang words eventually become the accepted vocabulary. I mean, heck, Shakespeare invented some slang words, and
right.
now they are the standard of which you cannot criticize in an English classroom.
True, but what I think what's going to happen is we're entering a sort of linguistic bottleneck, you could say. With mass media and the internet, we're going to see languages decline, disappear, and the number of languages actually used in the world shrink drastically as some countries start that have now forming a national and unified identity are going to start standardizing our languages. So we're going to see less languages in the world before I think we'll see an explosion of new language.
Yeah, the condensing of language is exactly what happened to all those Italian and German dialects when their countries unified.
So I think we're going to see that, but on a much more global scale. So I think we're going to start to see American English and American style English becoming the dominance in the whole entire Anglosphere.
Total American cultural victory.
True, but I do think some other languages might win in the long run. Like, I'm interested to see that as anime becomes more and more popular, what kind of linguistic legacy Japan's going to have.
I'm actually not going to comment on that because I'm going to say something that I will regret.
Fair enough. Anyone, no one else want to have an interesting comment on that, or?
Considering that kind of kind of is in a way, not entirely, but in a way tied to Chinese. We could see if conflict spikes up and Japan ends up on the winning side. Possibly Japanese ended up becoming the lingua franca of the East Asian.
That could be an interesting concept. Although I would imagine that would require several East Asian countries to swallow a ton of pride.
That would also probably require China to either be balkanized or just obliterated.
I mean, it's China, so it's probably going to happen anyways. The balkanized.
It is due for another collapse. It tends to do that from time to time.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Me too.
Where,
May God willing, my hand further it.
where is that? We need like that old Bill Wirtz soundboard. China is in pieces again.
And it broke again.
China
Now
is
it's
whole
whole
again,
again.
and it broke again.
You know who's still here? China.
This reminds me of one of my biggest things. I really wish Discord would add the soundboard to the Stages channel so we could actually use it in these recordings.
That would be hilarious.
That
That'd
would
be awesome.
that would be too much power for any one man to have, to be honest, but it would be great.
I can already see this backfiring on my end.
All right. Okay, George's P is here in the audience. I want to invite him up to see if he has anything we want to say, but we're at our max number of hosts. Does anyone want to step down or volunteer?
I can. I'm getting tired anyways. I'll go.
Oh, bye, Clements. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, have a good night, sir.
Night, Clements.
Hey, Georges.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm okay. I just had to worry about my cat a little bit. I was going to have to either take him to the ER vet or not. He seems fine.
But is this the same one that was hanging on the screen door like last week?
No, that's Segrid. This is Sim, and last night I saw him run off with like one of those like tightening plastic bits, right?
Oh no.
And I think he went and nommed it up, but also like he seems okay. And I'm just
probably fine. It doesn't seem emergent. You should probably take him to go get checked out just in case, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm just gonna see like if he like poops or not, and that's like the deciding answer. Yeah, it's just like
fair.
There you go. Okay, so I didn't know what time you walked in, so to get you caught up, we talked about Trump and Elon's breakup, and we were talking about languages just because we ended up not spending a whole lot of time on Trump's breakup. So you want to give your thoughts on any of that?
I feel weird saying this, but I'm kind of glad the Steve Bannon faction is winning over the Elon Musk NRX faction right now, at least.
Yeah, no, that is objectively funny.
Total NRX death.
I hate the people who just want to be bourgeois sovereigns. I hate them. I hate them so much.
Down with the honorexes.
Like, it's
total bougie sovereign death.
Like, they're not gone for good, though. Like, Trump is still working with Palantir and shit, and that's, like, the actual, like, mechanisms of enforcing their stuff. Elon Musk was kind of, like, their homunculus rat boy that they sent out.
Homunculus rat boy Elon.
Yeah, it's,
It has been.
I'm
so
sorry,
long.
that is just an objectively hilarious statement.
it's true
It has
though.
It has been so
Oh
long.
no, entirely
Homunculus.
true.
Yeah, I
That-
wouldn't
it
want to.
brings me joy.
I wouldn't want to get into an argument with you, less futurist. I can only imagine the horrendous insult you're going to hurl at me.
Bro's gonna dig up some like 16th century insult to hit you.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call you a lollard and move on.
Oh, well, now I'm.
You know they still exist.
Massive if true.
You know that Lollardy still exists.
I believe it, but I also know it as like the funny insult you get when you press the F1 key or F2 key on Stronghold Crusader or Stronghold 2.
Oh, that's funny.
Celebrity Gullion.
I know Waldenians are usually considered the intellectual heirs to intellectual precursors of Calvinists.
Well, yeah, they're modern. There are still Waldensians, and they're basically Italian Presbyterians. So
That's awesome. I wonder what Italian like Protestant work ethic looks like. It's fucked up.
No. They don't work. They just take naps the whole day. That's it. That's all they
They're
do. That's why
predetermined to take a nap.
they're predestined to sleep all day, and that's why there are no Italian Protestants.
I just want to say that I'm not a fan of Calvinist theology. So when you said something about proto-Calvinism, that has me concerned.
If Italians were Protestant, the country would have stopped functioning 500 years ago.
I keep thinking of that one meme where it's like the guy in hell. Oh, sorry.
I'm Lutheran, so I agree. Calvinism makes my bones burn.
Oh yeah, disgusting.
Probably burning about as much as Calvin is in hell right now.
You see, he was predetermined to go there, so it's all right, Constantine.
Oh yeah, no, it was predestined, bro.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. You can't win against him.
Listen. I was reading this Twitter post where it's like hitting Christian babies or something. Like, it was obviously a joke post, and it's like the Calvinist baby doesn't count. He was predestined to get hit.
Oh.
Okay.
That's horrible.
This is on the topic of religion, but you know how like back in 2012 a lot of the Reddit atheists did like the Draw Muhammad challenge and shit like that? If iconoclasm in orthodoxy was still around, would people be like drawing Jesus to mess with them?
Oh yeah, 100%. That seems like some Reddit atheist crap right there.
Oh crap! I just remembered, guys. It's June 6th. It's Day.
Yeah, happy D-Day, everyone.
I don't know if it's like happy. That's more of like
little Nazi death.
Happy curb stomp a Nazi day.
Yeah, happy curb stomping not today. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the right way. I don't think you say like happy just D-Day though, because like a lot of U.S. troops died in Canadian in Anzac.
Violence in the monarchies of America.
Okay, I think violence against the Nazis is like justified. I think monarchist organizations beef with the Nazis.
Absolutely justified.
Yeah, that's where I was coming from. I swear.
If they strike first, oh yeah, it's free game. But
we're just talking about D-Day, Bill.
We're describing D-Day here.
D-Day was a moral action done by the U.S. forces. I need to shut up about my opinions on World War II before I start like praising Bomber Harris.
Righteous Crusade.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. I got demoted last time I did that.
I remember that. I won't go as far as to praise Bomber Harris, but D-Day was justified.
Night bombings work, trust. They're not inaccurate at all.
Fire bombings work, bros. Come on.
Embrace nuclear bombs again.
Here's the thing, right? Like, we can talk crap about the fire bombings of Dresden, but nobody's saying, like, oh, firebombing Tokyo was bad. And I think that's
that's what I was about to say.
No, that's like the real crime there. Is like, yeah, Dresden was bad, but firebombing Tokyo was also bad.
Yeah, like,
my ideology on fire bombings and all that. Don't start no shit if you don't want no shit.
Yeah, exactly.
The Germans were under the delusion that they would be bombing everyone else and not get bombed in return.
No, that's a fair point, but like, here's the thing: is like civilian casualties and all that. That's my.
I counterpoint Rotterdam. Revenge for Rotterdam.
Hold on, what happened in Rotterdam?
Germans did unrestricted civilian bombing.
Okay, but to go back over Tokyo, Tokyo was exceptionally malicious because, like, the American Strategic Command literally sat down and said, "Okay, we know for a fact that Japan is a very metal poor country, and so
Yeah, no,
almost
their
all
entire like infrastructure was wood.
we know all their buildings are wood, so we're going to modify these planes so we can carry more, fly lower, so we know the bombers will be more effective, because we know they can't shoot back, and it was so, like, an argument could be made for some of the other campaigns for it being strategically necessary, but no, Tokyo was still 110% just malicious. Absolutely, positively malicious.
Well, you got to consider this. The Japanese mainland at that point really hadn't been touched in a while, so what we were doing is we were proving that we had the power to touch Japan on their home front and that they were not going to be able to outfight us. And in addition, Tokyo being the capital and the home of the emperor also had an additional sort of saying, hey, we can put your imperial family, the people who you worship as gods, in peril. You cannot do that to East our
Yeah, but they already like achieved that with the Doolittle raid. They didn't need to kill like 105k civilians.
I mean,
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Do not kill civilians in war.
Like it was worse than Hiroshima somehow. To the point there was a Finnish guy who came up with a conspiracy theory that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were just also fire bombings and nukes don't exist.
Yeah, like
we want to talk about Finnish conspiracy theories for a second. May I present you the Finnish Egyptian theory?
No, that's just real.
Okay, fair.
Finno-Korean hyperwar.
Let's not.
Yeah, no, the Finno-Korean hyperwar is real. I have evidence of that.
The Tyrannist vassals rose up to overthrow the empire at the end.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay, well, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry, we're going off of like the shitpost tangents.
I'm appreciating this because this is making my birthday evening very, very entertaining. But yeah,
Oh, happy birthday!
Birthday Eve.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, but anywho, yes, the Tokyo firebomb. I feel like we forget to mention the fact that the Tokyo firebombing was so bad that Allied High Command actually used it as an example on why the atomic bombs might be more humane. Like, this was an actual conversation they had, that using the atomic bombs were probably a better, more humane bet than the fire bombings, because at least the atomic bombs would instantly vaporize a majority of people in its blast radius. And that was considered cleaner than what the fire bombings would do.
As a man who's been on fire before, it is not a fun way to go.
No. Wait, you can't just say that without telling the story.
And I got on fire, apartment fire. 20% of my body got, like, around 20% of my skin got burned.
That's unfortunate. Ow.
Mostly deep second, like nothing third, so there's no permanent nerve damage in most spots, but like
that's still ouch. Damn.
Well, second hurts worse than third because third you don't have nerve endings anymore.
Yeah,
second
third
you
just
still
don't
have them.
feel. Third you just don't feel at that point.
Yeah, it's just.
I can testify to that because I got a bunch of second-degree burns once on my chest from spilling super hot soup all over myself, and that was.
Okay. What kind of soup was it?
It was ramen.
Was it good? Was it good?
I don't know. I didn't finish it. I was in
Brother spilt it. He couldn't eat the soup off of his burning chest. Like it's like licking napalm off your arm. Like what?
Lick napalm off my arm if I was hungry enough.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yummy
styrofoam and gasoline. Yummy gasoline styrofoam.
All I know is when you burn yourself so bad you start shivering like you're cold, you know you messed up.
Oh yeah, no, you done fucked up. You done.
Yeah, that or like when the shock sets in and you just don't feel nothing for a bit and you're like, huh, am I alive?
I wish I didn't feel it. I felt all of it and it was not.
Yeah, I think there's like a percentage point, like after 10% your body decides to go into shock and like give you a little bit of a break, but if it's like less than that, they don't care. Oh, well, your nerve endings don't care.
Here's the thing, right? Is like you burn yourself in your chest, bro. That's some serious damage right there. Like that's where all your vital organs are.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Real
I was
fun
lucky with mostly
part.
legs.
Now the really fun
oh.
part, while the scar is gone, I can still kind of remember where it is based off of where my chest hair is. Because where I was burned, my chest hair doesn't grow out as far.
Oh, do you got like the skin splotches too? Because I got those.
I don't have. I used to. I don't anymore.
Your dermis repaired itself. I see. Lucky man.
Anyways, back to the firebombing of Tokyo. Just wait till you hear about the bat bombs. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, the bat bomb.
Oh yeah, the bat. Yeah, no.
Bat
Why was that
bomb.
allowed? Why was that allowed?
Me when I train
or do
bats
you
to
not
go
know-
burn down buildings.
Hold on.
Sky, do you not know what the bat bombs were?
No, I don't.
So basically, when we bombed Japan, instead of like bombing them, we would release a bunch of bats with like incendiary like grenades on a timed fuse attached to them, and we would just let them fly into people's houses, and then they'd blow up, lighting houses on fire.
That reminds me of like Saint Olga of Kiev attaching burning sulfur to pigeons' feet and letting them go so they would fly back into the city where they roosted and catch it on
You
fire.
gotta wonder if that's what they were thinking.
I
Man.
think that was actually the guy who created it was inspired by that. I think directly.
Probably.
Okay, but you know,
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Real quickly. One more obscure animal-based bomb. The pigeon-guided missile.
Okay, that's just awesome.
No,
though.
the what?
The
The what?
pigeon-guided missile. They train pigeons to tap at Japanese ships. And so they basically invented a touchscreen for the pigeons so that they could tap to control the missile.
and the pigeons then
Tragic-
guided the bomb.
This is real biopunk.
This
was
is
never-
insane.
It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Oh, but no, when you guys said bat bomb, the first thing I was thinking of is I had Vlad the Impaler flashbacks of when he sicked a bunch of rabid bats on the Ottoman Empire. I was like,
I think we should do that again to
we did
Turkey.
not do that.
Why?
Okay, so part of the reason Vlad Dracula developed the myth of a vampire and he could turn into bats is because during his guerrilla war against Mehmed II, one of his tricks was he somehow managed to collect a whole bunch of bats, get them all infected with rabies, then set them up on a hill facing west with the Ottomans on the east, and then let them out because the bats would fly away from the sun and toward the Ottomans, and ended up inflicting a ton of rabies on the Ottoman camp because he just sicked a bunch of rabid bats on them.
Too bad it didn't get Mehmed.
I think like
Too
most
bad it
bats are
didn't
just
get more of 'em.
innately with rabies because like it's kind of like how opossums are immune to rabies. Like bats are lousy with rabies.
It's not, no, they're not lousy with rabies. They're affected by rabies just as much as any other mammal, but they are immune to an absurd number of diseases that they end up being carriers to.
Yeah, no. The possums are just built different, bro.
Low body temp like I almost said chuds. Okay,
I
imagine a
love-
chud opossum, Jack.
Okay. Hold on. I'll find.
I love the fact that biologists are absolutely confused with how a possum's immune system works. Like, they can't figure out for the life of them how it is that possums are the only creatures on planet Earth that can't get rabies, or how they don't get Lyme disease, or how they don't get any of these illnesses, and they're like biological tanks immune to everything. It's just incredible.
They are awesome, and they're also cute little guys. Like opossums are just like weird, like fucked up looking dogs.
I-
That is the closest thing I could find to a possum chud. Like, that is-
Constantine, I'm
that is
dying
the
now. I can go
closest
kill
thing.
myself now and have no consequences. I've achieved everything. I've seen the possum chud. Or Wojak. Yeah, I can just go die now. I
The
can be happy.
closest thing I could find.
I've achieved self-actualization, and I want to thank you for that from my heart.
What about the raccoon chud?
One of my favorite things about possums is they're absolutely fearless. Like, we have a bunch of stray cats in my neighborhood, and I'm not gonna lie, some of these stray cats, they're real sketchy guys. But there is a possum that would wander around my neighborhood, and he would just look at these big, huge tomcats like they're nothing and not care at them at all.
I watched a possum win a 1v3 against stray cats in my neighborhood last week.
Well, when you're describing the cats, it sounded like you were going to say like a racial slur against them.
Tomcat.
like these skeevy cats in my neighborhood always playing their music too loud or whatever the fuck. It's just like there was like
There was hate in that.
there was hate in that. There was hate in your chest there.
My only complaint about my cats is not that I have a cat. They like to come around my house because they seem to think it's a friendly place because I own a cat, and they will hang out outside my back porch because I have French doors on my back door, and they'll literally sit there and just converse with my cat through my back window. It's actually kind of cute. But it's like, why are you all hanging around here? Why are you bringing your dead animals that you killed to my concrete patio? Stop.
They're giving you offerings. You're their liege lord now. Like, come on, accept your vassals.
Nah, you got to become king of the cats, bro.
George,
Okay, and that is actually the main reason I like the possum, because he'll come by and then clean up after the cat.
He's a janitor.
It's an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem. He is the
William is not
scavenger.
the
He is the scavenger.
His cat is the king of the cats.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He is
No.
my
All cats are
high
eunuchs, so
priest.
he's like a conniving eunuch cat, and Will is the king.
Yeah, no
I am
empire is
like
successful without their conniving eunuch. That's why the
I
Star
am
Wars
like-
Empire failed. He didn't have a connive. Unless Vader was the conniving
Vader
eunuch.
was like
Vader
I
Was
saw.
Vader the conniving eunuch? Like,
Yeah, he was. Bro tries to get his like son that he had before his like bits were nipped off by fire to like take over. Like he's definitely the conniving.
yeah, no, he
eunuch.
was the
No,
conniving
I
eunuch.
got
Okay.
it. I got it. I am like the old school god king accepting the cat sacrifice, and the possum is the high priest actually eating the sacrifice.
You're having cat
Yeah,
flower
real.
wars go on.
Yeah, no, real.
On kitty cats, my cat Sim just came by. Hello, kitty cat. I love you. I love you with all my heart.
I don't know. Oh, this episode ended up being wild, but I appreciate it so much. This is fun.
It's been peak, frankly.
It has been. We even had a Bill Wirtz reference. Today has been a good day.
And it was beautiful.
I wonder if JD Vance is gonna go back to Peter Thiel's like cloning facility after the breakup's completed.
Yeah, no, it's like Biss.
What? Peter Thiel, what? Explain.
No, Peter Thiel is the guy who basically backed Vance throughout most of his career, so like he basically just owns Vance.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like the Emperor's cloning facility on Biss.
Yeah,
Is-
it's a good comparison.
Hey,
Wait,
is Peter
What do you
Thiel-
mean he has a cloning facility? That's the
No,
part
I'm
that-
just making a joke because he's like an NRX cyberpunk guy. Or are you talking about the Emperor Palpatine cloning facility?
Okay, so is Peter Thiel a neo-reactionary? Just
Yeah,
wanted to-
he is. He's like the main backer of Curtis Yarvin. He was the guy who basically helped make this shit more mainstream because he's the main money behind it. He is like he's the guy who runs Palantir, you know, like the evil sphere that fucking Saruman uses.
Oh, so he's our arch nemesis then.
Basically, he's like the evil NRX conniving creature that wants to like I don't know what he wants. He
guess-
scares me.
I
I
guess
have-
he's the Palpatine of the NRX movement. Like he's Darth Sidious of the NRX movement.
I think he's a Darth Plagueis. I think that
So
like
wait.
Vance will kill him in his
Where's
sleep.
the
yeah,
Clone
Darth
War?
Plagueis,
Where's the
yeah,
Clone
yeah.
War? Where's the Clone War coming in?
The Clone War will come during the Elon, like when the Muskites march on Washington.
Ah, there you go.
That's the
Who are the
occupation of
wait,
Naboo.
Who are the Separatists?
I have to ask. A lot of neo-reactionaries claim to be monarchists. Could we benefit by stalking the corners and trying to poach them?
No, here's the
No.
thing. Their whole conception of monarchism is the CEO monarch, where the bourgeois is basically equivalent to a modern monarchical thing. They would be okay with Hitler if Hitler called himself a king. Like, okay, that's kind of an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. It's like dictatorial comes
Yeah,
first, titles
They
come
have
second.
no standards. Therefore, we should oppose them on the fact that we are professionals, and professionals therefore have standards.
Well, yeah, we should oppose them.
I'm saying
We should oppose them because they are technocrats masquerading as monarchists. In fact, I wrote a whole article about how Moldbug and the NRX crowd misrepresents monarchy and how they gut monarchy of its historical and metaphysical roots, cut off its skin and drape the skin over their technocratic fantasy. And
They pull an Ed Gein with it.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's you just
No.
brought back memories. Goddamn.
That reminds me, I have a backlog of Radmon articles I need to read.
Yeah, me too. But
You guys have been
Yeah.
doing the work.
those like not like accepting their ideas. No, never. I mean more like
Co-opting
taking
them.
a couple of their members, educating them on what real monarchy is, since they no longer are turned off by the words monarchy. So surely there's something we can do with that, right?
Oh,
Well,
you mean
we do that by
Yeah.
existing. Like that's the thing. Like it's not an issue. Like the NRXers, it's kind of like appealing to someone who's in mainstream politics. Like they might have less of an ick around monarchy, but also we do that just through generalized education anyway. The NRXer issue is that like they're not organized. It's not like you can go to a group of NRXers. There's no NRX party or organization. It's more this eclectic, like philosophical part of the like internet. And also, it's kind of hard to work with them because also a bunch of them are just pro eugenics.
so I guess we have like an advantage over them in the sense that we are like more organized than they are.
Well, like here's the thing: we're organized, but like they have literal billionaire and also richest guy in the world backing them. So it's just kind of like
Yeah,
does
good point.
so like we're on like the less even footing. Like but we still gotta try, you know.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's an uphill battle, but it's a battle worth fighting for.
Yeah. And
I love fighting for things.
I love believing grand narratives.
Yeah,
What-
grand
Yeah.
narrative.
Hell yeah, brother.
While we're talking about Substack, I want to talk to you guys about my ambitious project. I mentioned it to George's, but I want to share it with the rest of you guys. Given I've turned 25, and since I was born in 2000, it conveniently coincides with the quarterly of the century. I have decided to do a complete political history of the last 25 years of the United States and everything we've been involved in. For
Sounds
myself.
fun, Hunk.
That is amazing.
Oh
I
wait, is this a history of American history in general, or just a history of American monarchist like history?
It is a political history and analysis of the last 25 years, starting with the election and inauguration of Bush, going through the war on terror all the way up to the modern day.
I see. So basically, you're gonna be covering like the late stages of the neoliberal world order. So
Basically.
okay,
And
I'm down for that.
yeah, and I'm gonna like try and make it more professional than I usually do. Like I'm cite myself. Usually I don't cite myself in my Substack articles because I usually write critique or opinion pieces and the reason I don't cite myself when I make those is because I assume my reader is already informed on the topic that I'm writing about. I know I probably shouldn't do that, but that's how I do it. But the second reason is I don't have a lot of time to write, so not having to track down sources helps save me time that I can actually spend working on the article.
All right,
I
so
don't
well,
know.
I wish you the best in this ambitious project of yours. I look forward to reading it.
Well, when you first sent me that, I like thought of like the Accursed Shares preface, where it's like, I told my friends I'm on this foolish project. I'm writing a political economy
Yeah.
because it is like a very, very ambitious project. I believe in you, but it's just like,
I know. I plan on starting it tomorrow, and before I'm off with my friends to celebrate my birthday again, we're going to a Brazilian steakhouse and then watching the new John Wick spinoff.
Dude, that
Well, let us.
sounds rad. I know what I'm doing for my birthday on Tuesday.
I
I'm
know you
doing D
told
and
me.
D with the lads. We're doing D&D with the lads for 3 days.
Oh,
Hopefully, we
based.
don't all kill each other by the end of the night.
Yeah, based.
actually
It would be cool if we could get everybody on Sunday, but my buddy Sean's on his dad's farm because farm equipment decided not to work. And yeah, no. Apparently the
Well, good
tractor
on
blew like a
him for
gasket or
helping
something.
out the family farm. Good on him for that.
Oh yeah, no, his dad grows weed among other things.
that's awesome. I approve
Yeah,
of that. That has the
no,
George P.
I don't.
William talking about your Substack project upcoming actually kind of made me think about upcoming project in the UMPA that's actually starting tomorrow. We will actually be starting our own podcast. It's going to be more focused on like getting exposure to our chancellor, and well, that's one of that was part more my agenda behind it. But it's also meant to foster more energy within the UMPAs. But your thing is a lot cooler though. But would you mind if sometime after we finish this one, if I ask you some advice?
Oh, sure, no problem. It's like, yeah, it's like normally you'd think a lot of people would be worried about the competition, but I'm not. When it comes to America, what's good for the goose is what's good for the gander. We have no enemies among us professionals. Of course, we don't like the people who don't take it seriously or who act like absolute heathens, but
Mm-hmm.
UMP is respectable people. The radical monarchists are respectable people. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. To quote Friedrich Nietzsche, or to paraphrase him, only the insecure man fears the success of others.
That's well said.
Broad monarchist coalition in 2025. That's my ambition.
Oh yes, I'm down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, coalition time.
That should be our
Yeah.
main agenda for this year.
American coalition would be pretty awesome. I know
Well,
one group we can exclude though.
Well,
You
not just
know-
American, but international. Like, we should try aiming for go for international. Like, if
You
not
know-
this year, then at least like in the following years.
But you know what you guys should do? If you guys are available, y'all should join here for the March for Life in 2020.
I can scrounge together a few $100 if we all just want to. Yeah, no, I'm down.
Well, yeah,
I appreciate
you
the
and
offer. I'll consider it.
I was talking with UMP and the Radmons. Y'all are welcome to join us too. We're always to get a bigger delegation together. I mean, the bigger delegation we have, the bigger we look in the crowd, the better it looks.
Few
Yeah.
hotel rooms. This could work. This could be awesome. This could be awesome.
I
I started-
appreciate the offer. I'll think about it.
Party, so I can probably see if I can coax Austin into funding a little delegation for that next time.
Yeah, usually in the past it's just been me and Clements. Although hang on a second, I'm drawing a brain fart here on his name.
Leslie was there too last year. I think
Leslie joined us this year, but yeah, we usually in the past we paid it out of pocket, but hopefully once we get the MOA bank account set up, we'll be able to cover some of the costs of that. But I'm more than happy to continue to pay it out of pocket.
Yeah, I'll pay out of pocket if I need to.
Same here.
Yeah.
I just need to save the PTO for it, realistically. I just,
Oh,
and frankly,
Word.
that is actually the one complaint I don't have about my job. They gave me oodles in PTO. Like I get 160 hours a year now, and I can roll 60 hours every year now.
that's real nice.
I know it's.
I got
Literally-
hired.
I get 5 hours every check, which equates to about 150 ?
Does it roll over? Or?
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't get cashed out at the end of the year. I could just stack it infinitely if I really wanted to.
Is there like a max where they'll make you take vacation or?
I mean, yeah, I think one of the guys from the downstairs employee health said he had to take vacation because he was getting too much. So I get like 5.5 hours every check, 26 checks a year. Yeah, that's 143 hours of PTO a year.
That's pretty generous.
Yeah, I know. It's because we're union.
Gotta love organized labor. We love organized labor.
I love organized labor.
Long live the unions.
I love organized labor. And I cashed out like 40 of my hours so I could have a week off of work till next Thursday.
Just shut up before you get me in trouble.
What are you talking about?
My place ain't unionized. I don't want to get no talking for union busting. All that.
Just simply don't live in a right to work state, dummy dum dum.
just be in a union.
My company is very good. They
My state's right to work, and my plan but I still scream about unions when I know that the big bosses are walking around and can't see me because I love watching them flinch.
I had a buddy who, like, he wasn't properly unionized with whatever his contracting jobs union was, right? But he did join the IWW, so he just vaguely referenced a union, even though the IWW is worthless, and they still like took him seriously, and they called his bluff each time.
Awesome.
Remember, everyone, your boss is not your friend, and if you don't fear your boss, make your boss fear you.
Well,
Is it-
yeah, no, I'm the only closing cashier at work, so really, if I quit, they need to find people to cover that, and I don't think people are willing to cover that.
Hmm. We love modern day monarchists. We love organized labor. Why? Because anything that hurts the bourgeoisie is our friends.
You see, bring back
We
the
need a
artisan.
revenge. We need a revenge arc against the bougies.
Revenge against the Jacobins, only like 200 years too late.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the wrong side of the freaking planet.
It's, okay, as Trotsky said, with every petty bourgeois has a particle of Hitler. Every bourgeois has a particle of the Jacobins.
Nah, that's
Yeah,
real.
that's
That's
a good
real.
way to put it.
And Hitler. You gotta have the Hitler particle too.
No, the Hitler's for
Also-
the petty bourgeois. Middle class
also,
is Hitler.
I didn't realize that Hitler particle was a Trotskyist term
Yeah,
until
no, it
like
is.
last week. And like I thought it was just a terminally online like leftist Twitter brain rot thing.
No.
But no, Trotsky actually said that.
Yes, it's amazing. I love Trotskyite theory because it goes in the most whack places. Like,
It's like Poseidism light.
no. Well, Posadism is Trotskyite, but then you also have the other Trotskyite school, neoconservatism.
Wait,
There's
what?
no way. There's no
Yeah,
way.
the guy who wrote Three Cheers for America, I believe. I'm trying to. Irving Kristol used to be a Trotskyite.
Oh my!
That-
No,
That's
is so
certified
good.
Kino. That's certified Kino.
You're telling me Reagan was actually a secret communist?
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
Reagan.
great.
No, not a communist, a Trotskyist. He was going up against Gorbachev, a Stalinist. See, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes.
I hate you,
Yeah,
Constantine, so much.
Yeah,
It's better to be hated than it's better to be hated and feared. Actually, that's not what Machiavelli said.
It's just,
The whole
that's what the
time.
Godfather guy said.
Ronald Reagan was Trotsky's. Oh my word!
MOA becomes
Ronald-
briefly a Bircher organization.
Burgers.
Well, no, Bircher, like the people who thought Eisenhower was a commie secretly.
Oh. Yeah, no. I was thinking of like the burgers, like the bourgeoisie, but no, I could go for a hamburger right now.
I thought it was
Dude, I could. Wait, burger, bourgeoisie. It depends if you want to speak kraut or if you want to speak frog.
But, what you said about the particle of Hitler, that reminded me of how The Office repopularized the phrase "blood alone moves the wheels of history," and like most people know that phrase, know it from The Office, and don't even realize that quote.
No, you cut out Mussolini quote. You said.
Yeah,
Seriously, a
what I
Mussolini
said was-
quote.
Yeah, what I said was, okay, so we know the saying, blood alone turns the wheels of history. That saying came back because of the one dude in The Office, because it was referenced in The Office, and that's how most modern people know the phrase. Nobody realizes that that was originally a Mussolini.
I think they've
That's hilarious.
quotes though.
I have a copy of Mussolini's autobiography on my shelf. I picked it up at a local bookstore for like $20 and thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Okay, Mussolini is a fascinating guy to read about because he's just like what's the Italian doing? What's the WAP doing?
yeah, no. What's the Italian guy doing? Hold on. It's like he's on a side quest.
I don't know, no racial slurs, no racial
No,
slurs.
Whoa,
Okay.
Did somebody say a slur?
I said WAP, so yeah, no, it's probably bad on my part.
I didn't even know that was a slur.
Okay, they can call me a kraut and a blockhead, and then like it's and a mick, like, and that's perfectly fine. But as soon as you say like, okay, just the game.
This guy looked like Minecraft Steve.
I'm okay where I'm not okay. I misphrased that. I'm curious where that phrase came from. Like, I get crowd, I get Mick, because Mick is making fun of the surname, but where does that WAP come from?
Without passport, I think is one of the like folk etymologies for it, but we don't really know. Like other like anti-Italian ethnic slurs have a lot clearer of like an origin, where like
Like, I know
I don't.
garlic breath was a big one.
I was like Dago comes from like the Italian version of Diego, among a couple others, like where they just are making fun of the culture and like trying to call Italians poor because wasps are elitist fucks.
It's
Well,
apparently from
okay.
the Italian word guapo, meaning bold or
Hmm.
shadowy, I think. Hold on.
Well, hang on a second. I have another fun fact. Despite the fact that Italians are stereotypically associated with garlic in the New World, garlic is considered a poor man's ingredient in Italy.
So is lobster.
Actually, Americans are the ones responsible for popularizing garlic in Italian food because it was one of the few ingredients that we had available for Italian immigrants that we found palatable.
Garlic is God's gift. Garlic is God's
It
gift.
is. It
I
is
love
God's
garlic.
gift. I'm not
I
going to
love
debate
garlic.
that.
I
Yeah,
love
I love
America
garlic.
being a melting pot of like Italians, Germans, other
Every
ethnic groups. I
European
forget.
ethnicity imaginable.
Yeah, like we're just like a nice like. And then you throw in like the Chinese. Like tongs are cool. I like tongs.
Like, I'm the boring one here. I'm just violently Anglo-Scots.
I'm half Anglo.
You're Scots Irish or whatever.
I'm half Anglo. I took a DNA test
Well, you see,
recently.
that's the thing. I'm like 30-some% Scottish and like 4% Irish. The rest of it is just from marrying into tons and tons of English families.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
My family line are like Volga Germans that got settled by Catherine the Great, and she had to keep them segregated from the Protestants because they kept shooting each other.
Of course they did.
It's just fun. Like technically not Volga, like Odessan Germans, but it doesn't matter. They're just Krauts that moved east.
Yeah, no, they're
mother-
Germans that went. They're Germans that went to Russia somehow looking for a better life.
My mother's side is really interesting because they were from Luxembourg, and so we don't know if they were French or German because depending on how you want
Dutch.
to
They were Dutch.
digress their language from being anglicized, it could be either French or German.
Brother, you're a Lotharingian. You're from the
Lord.
third
That's a
state.
name. That's a name. He's Middle Frankish.
Yeah. How does it feel to be Middle Frankish, Will?
It feels good.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
feels
fair. That's fair.
superior.
No, well,
I
yeah,
wouldn't go
no.
that far, buddy.
Didn't the Middle Franks have the imperial title because like neither other side could behave? Like, is that what happened? It was West Francia. They got the Kingdom of West Francia. East Francia got East Francia, and then Middle Francia got the imperial title, if I remember correctly, as well as King of Italy.
No, they didn't get King of Italy. Like they kind of just got battle royaled out of existence because they were like literally from the Netherlands down to Switzerland. Like you can't maintain those borders as a straight line.
No, they did have the Kingdom of Italy.
They did? Really? I thought like that was under the Lombards still, and then they like disintegrated.
Whoever drew up the Carolingian succession and division was really the grandfather, the great-great-grandfather, the spiritual ancestor of the European colonizers that drew up all the borders for Africa and the Middle East because he clearly had no business drawing those borders.
Well, they just wanted to split it equally
The
between
Treaty
the
of
kids.
Verdun was the Treaty of Verdun was a disgrace.
Like
Why would
I
they
were
think of
drawing
giving the stuff from the Netherlands down to Rome to one dude? Like, come
Okay,
on.
that is awesome though.
like if
Oh, it's awesome, but why?
Why not?
Like if I were drawing up the Carolingian succession, I would have made a southern state, a northern state, and then I would have had the eastern German state. Like we would have had the southern state with the Kingdom of Italy and like Alsatia, southern France would all be one kingdom, and then northern France and like the Low Countries would be one kingdom, and then like eastern Francia would be like Germany and the Middle Country. That's how I would have designed it.
Yeah, but you
West
are a
Fran-
modern man judging the people of the Dark Ages by your standards of what pretty borders are. Maybe they just thought it was aesthetically pleasing, huh? Ever considered
No,
that this was their
listen.
art?
Listen, here's my idea, okay? Kingdom of Italy, separate, border drawn at the Alps. Weston needs Frankish border drawn at the Rhine.
Hold on. To my understanding, for a brief period of time, Italy was separate from Lotharingia.
Yeah, it was like under Lombardy, I think, and then they inherited it through like marriage, right?
I think
My-
it was Carolingian who still controlled it, though.
My
Yeah, but I think it was like it's separate. Like I think the Lombards, like whoever. I'm probably getting my history from CK2, which is probably a bad sign. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, the Lombards got control after Middle Francia was partitioned.
Okay.
My God, I'm looking at these maps in the stages texture, and it's so atrocious.
It's
is
awesome.
So very atrocious.
I love feudalism and its consequences, where it causes the most scuffed borders because people are like looking at value and not like national borders and nation states. It's so awesome. Long live the Mitanni Empire.
It's so awesome how dudes would just draw a line and be like, "This land's valuable, so I'm taking it directly." Like that.
Yeah.
That's just some real shit right there. That's just some real shit.
Like, there's no idea of like a Luxembourgish person at this time. You just like you spoke funny and you were Catholic, and you spoke differently from the people like 3 towns down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
You
a
sound a
simple
little
life.
funny, but I think I understand you.
Yeah, diversity is our strength.
We need to wrap this up because this is getting crazy and it's getting late.
Oh, I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't get to talk about what I wanted to propose, but which is okay. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I'm a
No. My birthday decision, I'm making an executive decision. We will be longer still, Prussian.
Oh crap. Okay.
Get put on the
Well-
spot, buddy.
Yeah,
Well,
I
Well, I remember you saying you were still working on your notes, so I didn't know. It's like,
no, it is true. I'm still working on my notes. I'm still like trying to grapple with it. I was thinking about sharing what I've come up with so far. About how like one how we monarchists would approach various classes like the bourgeoisie, the petty bourgeoisie, etc. And second, how we would grapple uh, with like the consumerist culture and hyper individualism in capitalist society, or as Last Futurist calls it, postmodern techno capitalism. But again, it's still as much as I want to share what I have so far, I just realized that I may need to do a little bit more research, and I think I'll need to do like a little bit back and forth, like with Last Futurist and some others, before I can actually string something together, like to add more for for the podcast. So it's better to wait for something bigger, like that I can come up
Right.
with like later.
all right, well, yeah, well, I do want to weigh in at least on my opinion why we're here and why we brought it up. First of all, I want to say the petty bourgeois is a lost cause. They,
I'm not entirely sure I would agree with you on that because, like, by petty bourgeoisie, mind you, I'm referring to like the middle class, and I assume that's what.
well,
They're going the way of the proletariat, buddy. They're getting proletarianized quickly by tariffs.
the
They're
reason
getting-
I
they're getting-
say the petty bourgeois are the lost cause is because they are the most likely to be like libertarian, like very anarcho-capitalist. Why? Because they're against the capitalist establishment. They're against the higher bourgeoisie that are more liberal. And this was actually one of my main criticisms of Moldbug and New Reactionaries, or whatever the acronym is. I can never remember the acronym. George, help me out.
Neo-reactionary, because
NRX.
Yeah, NRXs. This was my main criticism of NRX because they've co-opted this strange anarcho-capitalist rendition of feudalism. But here's the thing: their rich bourgeois allies that they want to fill this role don't want to fill that role because liberalism is their preferred ideology. And the reason liberalism is their preferred ideology is because as long as they live in a liberal society, they can shirk what is the word I'm looking for? they can shirk their plausible deniability onto the political class. That's the whole benefit of lobbyism. They can lobby for decision and policy and then shirk the responsibility of that policy onto elected officials. The bourgeoisie support liberalism because of that. And so usually when we see like this weird anarcho-capitalist petty bourgeoisie and from the NRXers, it's because these are not bourgeoisie. These are petty bourgeoisie or the outcasts of the bourgeoisie that aren't establishment. And the reason they want this more unregulated anarcho-capitalist system is because it's that kind of disruption that would get them room to rise up to the level of the bourgeoisie. But as soon as they displace the bourgeoisie or become peer with the bourgeoisie, they would liberalize. Why? Because they can afford the lobbyists, and now they can afford to pay someone else to take the plausible deniability.
So, just want to make sure I understand this. You're saying that the petty bourgeoisie are libertarian, and that the NRX crowd is like appealing to those libertarian sentiments with their anarcho-capitalist
They're just doing it
tendencies.
in a very stupid revisionist sort of way. What they're doing is they're simplifying monarchy in a very disingenuous way and using that to appeal to like the ultra-conservative crowd to make their anarcho-capitalism more marketable to a more like hyper-reactionary ultra-conservative crowd. That's what they're trying to do.
I
And
see.
it's
Well, I just wanted to. I'm asking because I'm trying to understand like what. How do I put this? Um, I want to know which ideology do you think appeals the most to the American petty bourgeoisie? Is it libertarianism or is it ultra conservatism?
it's libertarianism. True ultra-conservatism, true reactionaryism is actually almost always the ideal of the
So
proletariat. And this is the wonderful, wonderful paradox that every socialist philosopher runs into. It's their brick wall. Is that the fundamental truth is, despite how much they dream and idealize, the average worker is the most reactionary and conservative person on the face of the planet. Religion is not the opiate of the masses, and morality is not the chain that shackles the proletariat. Because the proletariat is the one that's holding the leash of morality. The proletariat is the one that actually cares about the religious principles, about the moral values. They're the ones that actually believe in all of these things. If anything, it is the ruling class that is shackled to the morality by the proletariat.
okay, so basically you're saying that the proletariat are the ones that are the most reactionary in the sense that they are like the most conservative, and while
Yeah.
the petty bourgeoisie are libertarian, and the bourgeoisie at the top are liberal.
I would
And
want to.
so this
Sorry.
is going to come into a strange horseshoe theory of mine. But this is basically what my big theory is. And I'm going to call this the theory of religious collectivism. But when you become culturally conservative enough, you will become economically left, because most religious societies involve some kind of collective economic responsibility to your fellows, whether that be charity or goodwill or care for some sort of duty to the poor. Most religiously conservative societies require some sort of duty of some kind of welfare responsibility to those less fortunate in society.
So would you like use the the reactionary regime of the German Empire as like a historical example of this horseshoe theory of yours?
Yes, yes, yes. The nanny state, the conservative nanny state under Bismarck is 100% a version or rendition of this. Granted that Bismarck did it intentionally to try and sap the power from socialist revolutionaries, but a bigger version of this, I think we could find, is in the post-revolutionary peasantry of Russia, where despite how much the Bolsheviks tried to beat Russian orthodoxy out of the peasantry, they could never succeed. And they could only get it basically beaten out of the more affluent urban class in Russia, but never out of the rural class.
So, okay, so another question. So, about your theory of of ideology and class. So, if you since according to your theory, the bourgeoisie are liberal, the petty bourgeoisie are libertarian, and the proletariat are reactionary slash ultra conservative. What about the rural farmers? Are they like conservative too?
Well, the rural farmers are proletariat.
I see. So you like merge the two.
Yes.
I see. I
I'm not
actually
the
want to
kind
hear
of
what last.
person that
Oh, sorry.
I'm not the kind of person that considers kulaks, landowning farmers, to be petty bourgeois, because most landowning farmers don't have wage labor. Most of them still work their land themselves. I firmly believe the self-employed are still proletariat because they still sweat for their own labor. They
Okay.
still sweat for their own wealth.
That's your views on class and ideology are rather interesting, and they are different from the views of Last Futurist, like from what I've read and heard from Last Futurist. So this is something I'll
Well,
have to like mull over and think about.
Well, George's and I, we actually agree on quite a bit, and we appreciate each other. Like when I write my articles, George first I go for a critique, and George's comes to me to critique all of his. So that we have this back and forth going on.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, because
So
we have this understanding where we can be intellectually honest with each other about these sort of things.
and that's something I commend and really appreciate. But again, I'll have to think about like my own like class analysis and because you may be onto something, but I'll have to think it over. And in fact, I do remember like this book I got a while back titled Neither Left Nor Right, where it explains how the Marxists and the socialists, when they realize that the proletariat are not revolutionary but are in fact like reactionary, as you pointed out, they realize, okay, how do we get the proletariat to become revolutionary? And that's where you get to these various theories like syndicalism or Lenin's
Well,
vanguardism,
well,
and
there's
ultimately some socialists became fascist because like because of that realization, because of that paradox.
I'd say that like syndicalism and stuff like that also just kind of like came out of like proletarian organizing. Like most of the syndicalist theorists were proletarians themselves, compared to like Marx, who was petty bourgeois, or Engels, who was bourgeoisie. And there was some like socialist authors like George Bataille. Like, well, George Bataille could be very like mildly considered socialist, or at least post-Marxist, where you recognize like the proletariat's kind of reactionary and more base inclinations. What like so like they kind of handle the contradiction weirdly. It depends on the strike, basically, of leftist or
and
stripe, I
so
should say.
and there are different responses to recognizing and dealing with their reactionary nature. Like in the case of the Soviet Union, that's why the Soviet Union started trending to a stronger, more nativist and isolationist policy, was basically to appease the more reactionary nativist sentiments of the Russian population. Whereas in the contrast, you had Mao with his Cultural Revolution, where he basically just brainwashed enough of the youth to turn on their parents, and had disastrous consequences in the long run.
I
Yeah, that
remember. Oh, I'm sorry.
I oh, I was just gonna say that I think like one advantage that we monarchists should try to exploit thoroughly, and this is something I've covered in my articles on vanguardism, or one of my articles is that we should try appealing to the reactionary tendencies of the working classes, of the urbanite proletariat and the rural farmers, to garner a support base for monarchism. Uh, and also the petty bourgeoisie, which like from what I've read from one of Last Futurist articles, he argued that the petty bourgeoisie are the most reactionary class, whereas you, William, are saying that they're the most libertarian class. So it's uh, I was just
The petty,
uh,
the
The petty
petty,
bourgeois are like they're both reactionary and libertarian, because libertarianism is a private dictatorship of capital, where it's not
I
reactionary against, oh, I want to go back to the old. It's reactionary of, I don't want anything to change and I want to be the little king of my little small business.
okay, now
it,
I understand you better. Okay, I see.
it's reactionary in the individualist sense, whereas ultra conservatism is reactionary and societal or the collective.
Oh, okay. So there's like an individualist reactionary. There's individualist reactionism, and then there's collectivist reactionism.
Yeah,
You gotta think of it in the sense of libertarians and anarcho-capitalists are all about, as Georgia said, the dictatorship of self. Whereas ultra conservatives and like fundamentalists or stuff are of the dictatorship of institutions or ideas. Like theocrats are of the dictatorship of religion. Militarists and fascists are the dictatorship of the state or the dictatorship of a general.
And I'm for the dictatorship of the Bonapartist. But yeah, I digress. yeah. So yeah, okay. I think I understand what you're saying. And so just wondering, do you guys think it's possible that there could be a synthesis of like individualist reactionary thought and collectivist reactionary thought to bring to bring together that coalition of those three classes under like the monarchist banner? Is that
Welcome back, Mussolini.
okay? No.
You have to remember, Mussolini was a synthesis of like Stirner, which is hyper individualist, egoist anarchism, and syndicalist and Sorelian ideations.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Is it possible to make like a monarchist, non-Mussolini, non-fascist synthesis?
Well, that was kind of like the whole point behind tripartism. You had the state, the businessmen, and the workers all working together.
I
But
see. Well, I don't have much faith in tripartism in America. I just don't think. I think we're built different. We Americans are built different.
Stop doing American exceptionalism. We are as subject to history as everyone else. Like, we can do tripartism. We just haven't tried it because we're stupid. Like, technically, we do have an informal corporatism
yeah, we
going
are
on through
stupid.
lobbying.
Well, that's why it doesn't work. It's because we're too stupid.
Well, everyone's as stupid as we are. We just like don't try anything anymore because we don't want to try new things. We used to build things. We used to do pruitt egos.
No, everyone is stupid. We're just unique in our own stupidity. Like everyone has their own unique sort of stupidity, like unique form of stupidity.
Like we have like I don't know. I believe.
Okay.
I am an actual idealist, unlike you, foul materialist.
Hey, I thought I'm the idealist here. I'm more of like a weird synthesis of a.
I'm just throwing words out there. Don't worry about it. Don't think
Yeah,
too hard about it.
No,
what are you gonna say, Will?
sorry.
anyway, I wanted to wrap this up by saying the real important thing that we as monarchists have to do in America, in order to win America, we have to be the rightists that go left. We have to be the conservatives that will take on the progressive economic policies that the Republican Party is too busy fetishizing the legacy of Reagan to accept.
So
we have to be the conservatives to champion healthcare reform. We have to be the conservatives to champion welfare. We have to be the conservatives to champion economic subsidies and businesses and stuff. We have to be the conservatives to challenge free market capitalism. We have to be the conservatives to hold the strong religious values that progressives are afraid to do. We have to be the conservatives that are willing to put our foot down and say, we've spent too much time focusing on obscure social issues and we've let domestic economic issues and the issues of the working class go away. We have to be the answer that we have to fill that void that neither the Democrats nor the Republicans are filling. And we can fill that, but we need to be adamant about it. We need to be strong about it. If you get what I'm saying, I might just be spitting out nonsense.
No, you're cogent. Like, I'm sorry, I just ended up checking our time. We're like an hour in. I realized.
We're almost an hour 30. That's why I'm trying to make the final statement. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We need to wrap it up.
Oh yeah. If you don't mind, William. First off, sorry for interrupting you earlier, and second off, I agree that we should like be more Bismarckian in the sense that we should be the conservatives that kind of like these paternalistic conservatives. We try to help the working classes, but like this is just like me struggling with my economic views. Yes, there are problems with our modern capitalist societies, but I'm not sure if I'm willing to put all the blame or most of the blame on capitalism itself. I'm still like wrestling with that, which is part of the reason why I was hesitant to share what my findings thus far. But it's something I'm still trying to work out. That's all I have to say.
Which is an understandable position to be in. It's like uncomfortable to confront capitalism, especially as an American, where it's kind of tied up in our identity. This nation has only existed under capitalism. We don't have the sense of history to know like feudalism or even like slave society before that. Meanwhile, like an Italian's been through all three in
Well,
4 stages almost.
well, for me, it's more like I've been raised in being taught in free market economics, which I do agree with, like with arguments for free markets. But at the same, it's it again, it's something I'm still trying to wrestle with here.
There's a contradiction waiting to be resolved. Smile.
Hegelian
It's
synthesis.
okay to be uncertain about economics. Economists are the weathermen of human behavior. That's all economics is. It's our feeble attempts to try and quantify human behavior with numbers and predictable models. It's
Or
okay to have a degree of uncertainty because there's always a degree in uncertainty in economics.
Or you go the opposite direction and just go, okay, it's irrational. And we live in a solar economy, whatever, shrug emoji. Because like it is all just kind of like vibes and trying to figure out what works when God knows what works.
I cringed when you said the word vibes.
Yeah, but it's true though. Like the economy is just vibes. Like what? Look
Okay,
at Nvidia stock and tell me this is not a vibe-based system.
okay, put down the pop, sir.
Like I'm not even like stoned, brother. I'm just like Nvidia stock should not be as it is like in any good society.
Yeah,
That
no
is
comment.
not a healthy stock.
Alright, well, I think it's safe to say it's time to wrap this up. We've let this go on way longer than it should have. Alright, please join me for the closing prayer in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, and leave us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Heavenly Father, please keep us safe until we can come together again and share another wonderful conversation with each other. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for your patronage as always and for your support. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit like, comment, and subscribe and share with your friends. If you're listening to this on one of our other streaming services, hit whatever button it is that gives you the notification and share with your friends. Check out our website. Follow us on social media. Get a hold of us if you want to learn how to help out the cause. We'll see what we can do, see if we can get you in contact with people in your local area if available. If not, just keep chatting with us. Join us on Discord. Just do whatever you can to help out the cause, even if that's just talking to people you meet on the street. Until next time, may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you, and good night.